Hello, dear viewers. I am a global nationalist. I support nationalism in my country, India, and in all countries around the globe. Today is the second Sunday of the month, and so I will be making a video about the SCO. Today's video will be about a protocol signed by the Prosecutor Generals uh, of the SCO countries in their 19th meeting that was held in October last 29th and 30th. This protocol was protocols to prevent and fight the human trafficking. Now, what this protocol says, wait, before I, yeah, what this protocol says is that um, they will the SCO will strengthen cooperation amongst all its members to prevent and combat trafficking in persons. They will continue to exchange national legislation to combat the menace, and they will provide protection to victims of trafficking. That they will provide uh, training and for legal training for prosecutors in each of the countries in order to prosecute these crimes. And um, fifth was generally to uh, why am it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Just relax. The fifth point in the protocol was to conduct bilateral and multilateral activities to confront this crime. Now, I fully approve of this protocol. I think that it's a great measure that the countries have done, especially the fact that prosecutors in all the countries are doing this. It shows that the legal systems in all these countries have decided to properly act against this crime. And yeah, I do think that if these are some good points in the protocol. Yeah, for example, um, in exchanging national legislations will help the countries have a common definition for human trafficking, so that if somebody is trafficked from one of the member countries to another member country, then there won't be any confusion about what of what trafficking is. That is this person a victim in our country but not in theirs, and can they be uh, how can they be rescued, can the traffickers be punished. And so that helps countries work together and prevent the traffickers from uh, taking advantage of loopholes in legislations between of the different countries. And also, mainly, of course, to strengthen the cooperation amongst the countries. This was the first point. That would help because this will help Like, well, if somebody is trying to traffic women and children or men from across borders, then if the countries are working together to stop this from happening, then they can uh, stop these traffickers from crossing the border and arrest them. And if they're from their own country, then they can punish them there. If they're from the country from which they're crossing the border, they can deport them to the home country. And they can also rescue and the victims and send them back to their home country, which can receive them and provide compensation and rehabilitation. And yeah, and the other point I really liked about this was the developing the cooperation between educational institutions and organizations of the SCO member states in training prosecutors for prosecuting crimes of human trafficking and forced prostitution and sex slavery, because I guess certain, although it can be argued that prosecuting any crime has, well, there are commonalities to all of it. This is one type of crime where I guess you need specific skills, and if all the countries' prosecutors and legal systems are equally effective at prosecuting and punishing human traffickers, then this can greatly discourage people from taking part in these legal activities. Now, I want to talk about how human trafficking occurs in countries of the SCO. I'll start with India. India does not have a study that has done an official count of how many people have been trafficked for prostitution or forced or bonded labor, but several NGOs have come up with a figure approximation that there are between 20 to 65 million Indians who are victims of human trafficking. And in India, uh, although child labor, bonded labor is illegal, and also forced prostitution is legal, and but these things still happen. And um, the sources of trafficking is generally outside India. For example, people are trafficked to Nepal or Bangladesh from India, which is why in India many of the hubs for trafficking are located on the borders of these two countries because they have, if not open, at least porous borders. Therefore, it's easy to traffic people. Therefore, I think one way to really stop this is to have not open borders, but just regular borders for which you need a visa to uh, cross. I think this should be done not just in India, but for all the countries of the SCO. Luckily, India doesn't have large terrorist organizations which recruit young children, which kidnap and force them to become child soldiers. This happens in countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran, which have strong jihadist terrorist organizations which do use child soldiers and child suicide bombers. And however, many children in India are kidnapped and taken to these countries for becoming child soldiers. And yeah, um, India provides bonded victims of bonded labor and 10,000 a compensation of 10,000 rupees, and They provide children, victims of child labor, 20,000 rupees. I am not convinced that this is enough. At least just one payment is enough. I think that uh, the government should regularly pay these people, and at least, uh, if not a lakh, at least say 50,000 per year, so that they're able to um, cover themselves, cover their expenses and needs. Yeah, and also countries like uh, Pakistan, where simply there isn't a strong government in many parts, and so criminal organizations can become very powerful, which is why human trafficking is a big problem in Pakistan. This is also the case in Afghanistan, especially now with the Taliban in power. It's simply difficult to know what the situation is. But before the Taliban came to power, Afghanistan was already problem of a problem nation with regards to human trafficking, where people are trafficked outside of Afghanistan to various countries in the Arab countries, Southeast Asia, sometimes Greece, in Central Asian countries like Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. They are People are trafficked to countries like Russia and China, where labor is required, especially and China, where there is an imbalance of men to women with greater population of men. This is causing booming uh, market for trafficking women to be forced into marriage with men in China. Of course, this isn't all men. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's a small minority, but it is a problem in China, which goes to show that this isn't just a problem in lower income countries, but also in high middle income countries like China. Um, yeah, so I am really happy that these countries are have agreed to work against it, and I hope they are successful, and I think they will be, especially as they time goes on and they develop and become more wealthy. Then people will be less vulnerable and less able to be exploited, especially if women are working and earning. Then they'll be less likely to be uh, coerced into joining prostitution or becoming uh, brides, mail order brides. So yeah, that's what I think. That's my thoughts regarding this protocol, and I think any sane person will approve of this protocol. And I wish all the governments luck in putting an end to trafficking of humans, both men, women, and children. Uh, if you want to watch my previous video, click here. If you want to watch videos in this playlist, click here. Thank you for watching. Vande Mataram.